We don't need to get into that. This is a TBR video, not a crisis of do I even know my reading taste anymore video, because Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and today we are doing my July TBR game. Now before we get started with the TBR game, I do have 3 books already that I need to read for the month. We're gonna hope that they get onto this TBR. One of them is for the themed weekly reading vlog, which I would have spoken about during the reset video. I'll have that video linked below for you. Hoping we can get that onto the TBR. And then we do also have 2 books that I want to read for Summerween, which is a readathon hosted by Gabby. I will have her channel linked below. Really excited to take part this year. I haven't been able to take part last year, so I'm really excited to get back into it. So I have 2 books I want to read for that, and again, hopefully they'll fit onto this TBR. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. We do have the Discord book club pick, but I'm reading that as an ebook, so it won't be mentioned in this video, but it would have been mentioned in the reset video. For those of you that do want to know, it is Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher, but it won't be a part of this TBR game because I don't count ebooks as part of this TBR game. Speaking of, for those of you that don't know, my TBR game. A very simple game. We have a 6 coloured sided dice that correlates to a little ghost that sits on top of a prompt. Very simple. We roll the dice a minimum of 5 times. If the same colour comes up twice, we do a re-roll, but I do cap that at 2 times. So we have between 5 to 7 prompts to fulfill for the month. I am going to allow myself to double up once. So I will allow myself to have 1 book that will count for 2 prompts once this month, just because I've already got quite a few books that I need to read for the month. That's what it is. Nice and simple. I hope you're all doing really well. Let me know what you're reading and if you're taking part in Summerween. I am going to go through all the Summerween prompts, like the dates of it and everything. That will be at the end of this video, so if you are interested, then just stay tuned. That will happen after we've picked the July TBR. I think that is all the housekeeping stuff out the way, so let's choose the 6th prompt and get into that first roll. Okay, so I'm really hoping we get something nice. Do I know what would be nice in this pile? Not really, no. No. I mean, a mood. Okay, we just dropped half of those. Hang on. I think that's a sign we should just stop waffling and just get to choosing. Let's go. You know what? Let's go smack bang in the middle. Go for here. What are you? That's not a prompt I wanted. That's not a prompt I wanted, which is historical fiction. That doesn't go with anything I need to read for the month, and it's just not something I want to read because I am reading a historical fiction book currently for June. Let's just go. Roll number 1. We're not off to the best start. Roll number 1. Green. What? I didn't want that. Okay. Game. So, historical fiction. Right, so this is my historical fiction show. There is a couple books, actually, that I wouldn't mind reading because they're a little bit darker. We've got The Crow Garden by Alison Littlewood. This one is meant to be a kind of horror-leaning historical fiction. That one was recently gifted to me as well. I do have a proof of Bright I Burn, which seems like more of a witchy themed, so could do that. Or thinking about it, because this one's got me thinking, in my thrillers I do have The Beholders, which is a historical lean-in thriller, so I could also do that. You know what? I think we're going to get you to vote on the very first roll. Let's do this. So the game is choosing violence from the very first roll. So you're going to help me choose because I don't know. The first one is historical fiction, and I'm honestly not as mad about this now that I remembered I have some genre blends of historical fiction that are slightly darker leaning. Like, I am really in the mood for thrillers and horrors this summer, which is weird, but it's what I'm in the mood for, and thankfully I have a couple of historical fiction books that fit that mold. The Crow Garden by Alison Littlewood. This one was gifted to me by Uniquely DJ, and this one is about a asylum. Basically, we're following Nathaniel, who takes up his new position as a mad doctor at Crackitthorne Manor. The proprietor, more interested in phrenology and his growing collection of skulls than his patient minds, hands over the care of his most interesting case, Mrs. Victoria Holstons, whose husband accuses her of hysteria and says he will pay any price to see her well. But she accuses him of something far more terrible. Nathan gets caught up in it all, and maybe he's caring more than what he should as a doctor. And this one, The Beholders, is by Hester Musson, and this one was gifted to me by my mum. And this one is like a haunted house setting. We are set in June 1878. The body of a boy is pulled from the depths of the Thames, suspected to be the beloved missing child of the widely admired Liberal MP. 4 months earlier, Harriet Watkins is a young maid newly employed at Finton Hall. Fleeing the drudgery of an unwanted engagement in the small village where she grew up, Harriet is entranced by the grand country hall. She is entranced too by her glamorous mistress, whose unearthly singing voice floats through the house. But Clara, the mistress, though captivating, is erratic. The master of the house is a much lauded politician, but he is strangely absent, and some of their beautiful belongings seem to tell terrible stories. Honestly, both of these sound really, really good. I'm intrigued to read both of them. I think they're both going to be fantastic. Just let me know which one you would rather I read for the month. Throwing you guys in the deep end straight away because this was a prompt I just had no idea, and to be fair, no inkling to want to read. However, I actually don't mind this. This is pretty good, and I think that's something I need to learn a bit more, is what I like within genres is normally the subgenres, and I do really enjoy a historical fiction book that has gothic undertones, so whether that's horror or thriller, I genuinely really enjoy that. So I think these two will work really well, and then the rest of my historical fiction, honestly, I'm gonna have to be brutal with myself at some point and actually go through them and be like, am I ever going to read you? Anyway, that's a whole nother tangent. We don't need to get into that. This is a TBR video, not a crisis of do I even know my reading taste anymore video, because I have been thinking about that a lot. So just help me out. For this first pick, please let me know in the comments below whether I should read The Crow Garden or The Beholders in the comments below. Let's hope that the next pick, 1, is nice, and 2, the next roll is nice. That's what we're gonna hope. Also, it's really annoying when that happens, when I pick and then that's the prompt that gets chosen straight away. It's not what's wanted. Anyway, I'm rambling nonsense as always. We're gonna go towards the back. A BIPOC author. Roll number 2. Let's go. Roll number 2. Orange. Okay. Representation. Roll number 2, we got representation. I'm actually really happy with that prompt. I had so many books I could have chosen for it, but in the end I decided to go for Chlorine by Jade Song. This is a book that was on my wish list because of Jan. I will have her channel linked below. Then Uniquely DJ gifted it to me, so thank you very much. But this is one that I've been really wanting to read specifically in summer. I missed out on Jan's book club read for this. I mean, I'm always behind on book club picks, unfortunately, but I always love keeping a note on them because I will eventually get around to those books. But this is one that Jan really seemed to enjoy. I think it was in May. Don't quote me on that. She really liked it. I really enjoyed her review on this book, so I knew that this was something I really wanted to read. I've chosen this one as representation because it has Chinese American representation with our main character Ren, but it also does talk about sapphic longing, so it could be representation there as well. This is just one that I'm so pleased I got on. This is not one of the 3 I need to read for July, but it is one that I've been wanting to read for July. Well, actually, I've been wanting to read it ever since it was gifted to me, but July was the next month it could be in. We have Ren. Ren is a swimmer. She is obsessed with water. She wants nothing more than to live in water constantly. She's been brought up on tales of like gothic stories, different things that live underwater, and she is obsessed. She wants to do this, and so it does say here that she aches to be in the water and she will do anything she can to make her life in the freedom of its depths, no matter the pain, no matter what anybody thinks, no matter how much blood she has to spill. This is enthralling and visceral, an unforgettable vision of adolescence in all its horrific glory. I'm really excited to read this one. It is a bit of a darker read. You do actually need to check your trigger warnings for this one. I mean, you should for any book if you are a bit more sensitive to some things, but I know this one does handle quite a lot, so do be careful going into it. I am very excited to read. It's slightly more darker leaning, but I think I'm really going to enjoy it. Like, I have such high hopes for this book. I can't wait. Oh, we've got mermaid influence and stuff. Like, I'm obsessed. I'm just obsessed with the concept of this, so I'm very grateful that even though it isn't the books I need to read for the month, that I will be reading it. And to be fair, it's not long. It's only just over 200 pages long, so I feel very confident that I can get this one read on top of everything else I need to read, and I just think it's going to be fantastic. You know what, TBR game? You did good. So let's choose another prompt. Okay, let's see what we get. I do need to try and get those 3 books on this TBR though, so hopefully we get some stuff that works. I'm scared of that over 500 pages prompt. I do not want that to come up. Let's see. A chaos choice. Let's hope you don't come up. That is A to Z pick. I'm not going to explain what it is in the hope that it doesn't come up. So let's go to roll number 3. Roll number 3. Purple. Yeah, I didn't want that. I did not want that prompt. Right, well that's a classic. That does not go with the 3 books I need to read. Okay, let's go have a look. Okay, we are at the classic shelves. Now look, would this have been a great prompt for next month? Yes, because I have a specific thing and I'm taking part in another readathon and all of that is perfect for August. Do I want it in July? No, I do not. So I guess we'll have a look. Not really feeling a collection, although it might be a smart thing at some point. These ones I have plans, which again, August would have been great. Let's have a look at the English libraries though. So there are a few I could read because I do have a couple of these on my summer TBR. So we do have North and South, which is on my summer TBR, as well as Room with a View. So I do have both of those on my summer TBR, so I could do that. Down here, nothing's really calling to me. I mean, I could do a reread of this, which could always do a reread of Dorian Gray because I love it. But I could do another short story collection. Bloody Chamber. The Collector is one I've been meaning to read for absolutely ages. That one's, I mean, I do like this cover as well. Like, that's really cool. Not really feeling fairy stories. I do have this new one that I just picked up, Goblin Market. So I could just do a poem. That really wouldn't take long to read. Not really feeling any of those behind there either. Or I could do a Mary Shelley short story collection. Okay, well, shoot. I don't know. Oh no. All right, let me have a think and I'll get back to you. Once again, another prompt that does not help me with the 3 books I need to read for the month, is not one that I can double up on with any of these, is not one that I wanted to read for the month. So yeah. However, I have just ignored the books I was meant to read for my summer TBR and I did decide to go with The Collector. This is by John Fowles and this is one that I've had on my TBR for a couple of years now, and it's a tale of obsession. So I'm kind of feeling that. As you can see, I'm wanting a more darker, creepy summer. This one, we are following Frederick, who collects butterflies and takes photographs. He then becomes obsessed with Miranda, so decides, you know what, I'm going to adopt you and eventually you're going to love me. And then we have Miranda, who has to struggle to overcome her prejudices and contempt if she is to understand her captor and as a result gain her freedom. So I'm really excited to see how we're going to go with this. I think it's going to be really disturbing in places, but it is one that I've been meaning to read for a long time. So yeah, I'm gonna add that to the pile. Kind of annoyed it doesn't match up with any prompts that I need. Like, we have 3 books so far. We are 3 books in. We've not been able to double up and they don't fit the books that I wanted to read for the month. So at this rate, we already have 6 books I need to read for the month plus 2 ebooks. It's gonna be a stacked month, and to be fair, I could have helped myself and gone with one of the short story collections. Like, I was contemplating Bloody Chamber, that's only 150 pages. Was also thinking about the Mary Shelley short story collection, which is Transformation, that's only 100 pages. But instead, no, I'm not going to help myself either, and I'm going to go for this one, which is 283 pages long. Although some of the pages, I will admit, are like this, so I'm really intrigued in the format of this. I think having a flick through, some of it is journal entries, like we have December 6th and then December 7th, like written out like this. So I do think it's going to be quite a quick read. I'm not sure if it's journals all the way through. I don't think so, because on the first page it doesn't show as journals. I don't know whether the journals start and like it's Miranda's journal that she keeps while she's being held captive. Like, I really don't know. But this is also one that I haven't heard loads of people talking about, so I would be intrigued to know if you've read it and what you thought about it. So yeah, could I have helped myself a little bit more and gone for something smaller? Yes. That's not my life choice apparently, so I only have myself to blame. Let's choose another prompt. I'm hoping at some point I can, even if I can't get the 3 I need to read, I can at least double up on 1. It's just not working. Let's give these another shuffle. We're gonna try again. I feel like I'm not having much luck. I could have filmed this on a completely different day and maybe have had better luck, but no, I chose to film it today and apparently the luck has gone out the window. So, 'tis what it is. Let's just go at the front. Okay, what's this? Now, if I had been smart, this is short story collection. If this comes up, I think I'm just gonna either scream or we're just gonna have to change the classic that I've chosen to a short story collection so it doubles up on the prompt, which is not something I like to do, but needs must, potentially. I guess we're gonna find out. Roll number 4. Blue. Season pick. The roll number 4 is season pick. And you know what? I could have been smart and just swapped out the classic pick that I've done for the month and swapped that out for the classic season pick. As I mentioned, I do have 2. So I could have done that and been smart. However, of course, that's not what I'm going to do because instead I've gone for Fruit of the Dead by Rachel Lyon. I've been talking about this book so much recently, but it's one I really want to read. Like, I'm so excited for it and I just think it's going to be a fantastic book. I have high hopes. I think it's really going to work, so I'm going to stick this as season pick. So this one is a Demeter and Persephone retelling. So normally you hear of Hades and Persephone retellings, and while Hades is in this, he is not the prominent figure. Instead, we're following Persephone and Demeter. They've all got different names. This is done as a contemporary book, but we're following the story of when Persephone was taken by Hades, Demeter's vengeance, outrage she had for it. So we're following a young girl who's a young camp counselor, Corey. She's 18 and she ends up being kind of taken in by this pharmaceutical company tyrant, Rolo, and he is intoxicated by Corey and is like, hey, come to my exclusive place. There's an NDA and everything involved though, and it's toxic. It's horrible. It's not going to be a good time, but she does it. She runs. And then the other perspective we get is of Corey's mother, who is like, I need to find out what's happened to my daughter, and we're following her as she tries to get her back, really. So it's going to be a really interesting read. I think it's going to be fantastic. Brilliant. I have high hopes. You've heard me talking about this one a lot. I really wanted to read it. It's not too long either. It's under 300 pages. So as much as it isn't one of the 3 books I need to read for the month either, it is one I really want to read. And honestly, at this point, we may end up changing the books on the TBR that I had for Summerween because we're 4 books in and none of them are matching up. We're going to do the 5th roll. Hopefully that 5th roll works for at least one of the books I need to read, but if not, then yeah, we might do some reshuffling of the Summerween TBR because that one's not set in stone. We haven't had a re-roll yet, which is really good, but we are in the danger zone. I mean, there's a lot of colours that it could possibly be. We literally have pink and yellow as colours that we can have without it being a crossover, and I'm really not wanting the yellow prompt as over 500 pages at all. Kind of honestly feel like at least if we get a re-roll, if I just double up on that prompt and find a book to work, then I can do that. I don't know what I want, but let's choose another prompt. Honestly, this TBR for me has just not gone the way I thought it would go. Like, it's just not worked with the plans, and this is why I don't tend to take part in readathons and that, because my TBR is just chaos. It does what it wants, and it's so rare I get to fit things into it, and I could just not do the TBR game, but I have so much fun with it. Anyway, let's go here. Okay, so this is a pretty book, which, you know what, that's an easy one. If we get that, that's an easy one to double up. Right, roll number 5. Green. That means we have a re-roll. Okay, so we've got BIPOC author, choosing another prompt, which is a dark cover. The first re-roll, blue, and of course we get another roll after this. So that is pretty book, and choosing yet another prompt. Let's just go here. Mythology. And now for the final roll. Green. which is a dark cover. Roll number 5 was pure chaos. I can't believe we ended up with 3 prompts to fulfill in this roll, and honestly I have spent longer than I care to admit trying to get these prompts to work and work with the books that I want to read for Summerween. I've then had to change the books I was going to read for Summerween. It's been a whole process, but we've got there, so let's go through them. For the BIPOC author prompt, I have gone with Silver Nitrate by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This will be the 3rd book by Sylvia Moreno Garcia that I have read. I have read The Beautiful Ones and Mexican Gothic by them, so I'm really excited to read this one. This one is about a horror film that has a bit of a curse on it, and we're following 2 different people. We have Montserrat and Tristan, who ends up working with this director who needs their help to finish this film that he began to work on years ago, but the film was never finished, which is why the director swears his career vanished overnight. He is cursed, so he's asking for their help to refilm those scenes and get into it. However, he ends up talking a lot about Nazi occultism, imbuing magic into highly volatile silver nitrate stock. It all sounds a little bit too fantastical for them to believe, but they're gonna go along with it and try and break this curse. There was a lot of buzz when it first came out, but I haven't heard much about it since, and this is a book I picked up a little while ago. I'm gonna just give this one a read. It works for the BIPOC author prompt, so I feel like this will be a good time, and it keeps in with that horror theme I'm going for. For Pretty Book, I finally got one of the 3 books I wanted to read for the month onto the TBR, and that is Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. For those of you that haven't watched the reset video, I am filming a cottagecore reading vlog in July. I'm really excited for it. It is one that everyone on Discord voted for. I had 2 ideas of what I wanted to do and I wasn't sure what order to do them in, and cottagecore won for July. Really excited for it. This is a book I've seen a lot of people talking about recently. We're following this little family, has this apple tree in the garden, but it also bears a very special sort of fruit. I feel like it's slightly whimsical and magical. There are recipes in the back, and I just think it's going to be a really fun reading vlog to do. I do also have a ebook that I'm going to be reading alongside this that I would have mentioned in the reset video, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one, and this is the one bit of lightness out of this whole TBR for the month. So yeah, I think this one's going to be really good, and I'm so pleased I got it onto this TBR, and I do think it is a gorgeous book, so it does work for Pretty Book. And then for dark cover, I did decide to double up on a prompt and put it with the historical fiction pick. Both of these books, depending on what one you vote on, will work for historical fiction and also dark cover. As you can clearly see, they are dark. So now we're going to talk about Summerween. So as I said, I'm really excited to take part. It's being hosted by Gabby. It takes place on the 5th of July, which is the Friday. I can't wait. I think it's going to be so much fun. I really wanted to take part. I had to really contemplate my TBR to see what will fit with the prompts, because originally I had 2 books that was going to fulfill all 5 prompts. The first prompt is really simple, which is read a book at night or in the dark. That's fine. That's easy enough to do. The second one is read a thriller or horror. Pretty much all of these books will work for that prompt apart from Garden Spells, so that's fine. But originally I was going to go for a sci-fi horror, which is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. As you can see, we haven't fitted it onto the TBR. Yes, I could have done this as a dark cover for the prompt instead of doubling up, but with the amount of books I need to read for the month, it just wasn't smart to have this one. So unfortunately it's not working for that. However, it was also going to work for the 3rd prompt, which is read a book with night sky on the cover, because this one is in space and you can see a bit of space in the background there, so I was going to stretch that out for night sky. And then the second book that I was going to be reading for Summerween is Killers of a Certain Age by Dana Rayborn. This is a fun thriller I was really looking forward to reading, and I might still, because this one is working for read a book with 5 or more words in the title, and that is what I haven't been able to fill with this TBR. And I did check my shelves for all the titles with 5 or more words, if it would work for any of the prompts. It wasn't working, so that's why it took me so long. So I might still end up reading this one, and it was also going to work for potentially a book that takes place in summer. I don't know if it does or not. In this one, we are following 4 elderly women who were assassins, and they have been told, hey, go on this vacation by the company that they work for. It's all paid, go for it, enjoy. So because of the vacation part, I felt like it would take place in summer, except of course they're not actually going on vacation. They've instead got people setting out to kill them from the company because the company thinks they're too old, and so they are of course going to show them what age can do. Sounds like it's going to be really fun, so I might end up still reading this one because, like I say, it starts at the very start of the month, so I might end up reading this one because I really want to fulfill the prompts. And this one does work for the title with 5 words. It also works for fulfilling the thriller prompt because the other book I'm thinking now to read is going to be Fruit of the Dead, because again, I can read either of these at night, so I'm not worried about that prompt. But this one fulfills 2 other prompts because this book takes place across summer. And also, if we look right in the background here, there is this sky here, which is like stormy clouds and everything like that, so I'm taking that as like a night sky. It's going to be these 2 for Summerween. Not originally what I'd planned, but you know what, it's fine, we can run with it. So let's go over all the books I'm reading in July. So starting off with Summerween, we are going to be reading Killers of a Certain Age by Dana Raybourn. I didn't get this one onto my July TBR game. It's short, it should be fine for me to fit in for the month. And then we also have Fruit of the Dead by Rachel Lyon that is going to be working for Summerween, as well as a season pick because this is on my summer TBR as well. We then have Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen, and this one is working for a pretty book and also the Cottagecore vlog that is coming your way in July. For a BIPOC author, we have Silver Nitrate, a horror book about a film. I'm really excited for it. I honestly think it's going to be a really good read. I was desperate to try and fit this into Summerween because I think it would be perfect for it, but the cover doesn't work for it, the title doesn't work for it unless we include the author name. I just couldn't get it to work, which is so upsetting. For representation, we have Chlorine by Jade Song, another book that I really can't wait to read. It's going to be quite unsettling and it's like a gothic contemporary coming of age story, I believe. I'm really excited for this one. For a classic, we have gone with The Collector by John Fowles. This is a book that is, again, very disturbing, and I honestly think out of all the books, if I can't get to one on the TBR, it is probably going to end up being this one that I think Killers of a Certain Age would have just knocked out with the start. Hopefully I will get to it because all of these books are pretty manageable in page length, so fingers crossed I'll get to it. But I'm saying here and now, if I don't finish the TBR, this is the one that's probably not getting read. And then finally, we have the books for you to choose between for the month that are going to work for historical fiction and a dark cover. So the first one is The Beholders by Hester Musson. This is a newer release and it is like a haunted house type vibe. Or you can choose for me to read The Crow Garden, which is more horror historical fiction leaning, and this is set within a asylum. And we have a woman there telling a very different story to what her husband is telling. I love these sort of stories. Honestly, really excited for both of these books, so please let me know which one you think I should be reading. But there we are. These are all the physical books I'm going to be reading in July. It is quite a stack. I am honestly a little bit terrified. Please let me know out of the historical fiction one what one I should be reading for the month. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, and if you're taking part in Summerween. But that is it for this video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this slightly chaotic time because it did not go the way I wanted it to go, but that's fine. Thank you, like I say, for watching, for making it this far, for taking the time to watch. I really appreciate it. If you have made it this far, then leave a mermaid emoji in the comments below for Chlorine if you've made it this far or you just don't know what you'd like to comment. If you have enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.